to try and get around the fact that my headlights don't have that hole in it, things are going to have to get drastic. I'm going to try and cut a hole in that and convert these halogens into xenon, or more to the point, I'm going to swap over the things from the old headlights, which are xenons, into these new headlight units that are halogens. This could be a very expensive mistake, so let's see how this goes. Full power! So as it turns out, drilling through a headlight is not a great way to keep your warranty and to be able to return them back to where I bought them, which might come back to bite me later on. Huh. That worked surprisingly well, and I haven't scratched anything else. Brilliant. And now done the other side. They have now been converted by my professional hands by drilling a hole. Let's see if this actually works, or maybe I've just done that for no reason. There is another thing that I forgot to mention that needs doing on this car, and it's under more of an annual annoyance, but how quickly can I fit this fuel filter? I've done it a few times, it gets messy every time, but let's see how quickly I can do it. Which does of course mean taking the battery out, taking the air filter or the air mass box, airflow box, yeah, I was right the first time. And then below there somewhere is a fuel filter. So let's see how quickly I can do this. Nice and easy. You need to undo bolts when you just pull them off. Disconnect the live as well because we don't want to be getting any shocks. That came off. Now the reason you want to disconnect the negative terminal first before the positive is because if you disconnect the positive first, it might accidentally short circuit if your spanner was to touch any metal bit and it arc and damage any electrical components. So for this reason we always want to disconnect the negative first, then the positive.
Ask you
Yeah.
if you wanted to go to the Gravity show on the 23rd or 24th.
Ah, you were looking at Gravity as well.
No, I wasn't looking at it, but I was like, I've seen it, I know what it is. But, well, I don't know what it is, but I thought you might be interested.
I am. This month.
Next month.
That's next month. Oh, it's
No.
July next month.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how much tickets are there.
I don't know, I'll have a look.
That would be fun, because I think I actually saved a screenshot.
Sorry?
I think I saved a screenshot and it had like Matt Armstrong in the picture and I was like,
That?
yeah, I was like, ah, I get to meet car people. That'd be awesome. I think we should do it. If the cheapest tickets are cheap enough.
How come you saw it and you never suggested? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now.
Because I didn't think you'd want to go.
Yeah, I don't like cars. I didn't tell you about my house. I don't know anything about this. Why would I like it?
Exactly, I'm glad you're seeing the light. Glad you understand now. You have to edit out a lot of these swear words. Stop giving me editing work to do. Honestly, sometimes the things he comes out with. Freedom! Disconnect the mass airflow sensor. It's pretty important. That tells the ECU how much air is coming into the car, so it knows how much fuel to mix in as well. So it's pretty important that gets reconnected again. But this is one air filter. Right, so what we have here, this is the distribution cap for the fuel. So that the fuel filter's below it in this little housing, and then they've got some lines coming in and some lines going out again. So I'm going to have to disconnect these lines, catch any fuel that's in there, disconnect any electrical connectors as well. There's like 2, and I think there's 1 on the bottom. And then eventually I can undo this screw here and lift the whole thing up. This is my brilliant device for catching all of that pesky diesel. Let's see if it works. This is my high-tech solution to getting out any remaining fuel in the filter. As you can see, it's very safe into this sandwich bag. Look at that. It's like a whole tank left in there. Smells as well. Oh, spilt some. And of course, I'm not going to waste this. It's going to go straight back into my tank. I'm recycling. Nope. If I didn't get it everywhere.
Apparently I make some very questionable faces while I'm undoing things.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Witness the strength and strong smell of diesel. There it is. No idea what it does, but must measure fuel coming into the filter, maybe. You can see inside it's got these like, what do we call it? It looks like coffee filters. Oh, there's more fuel in there as well. That should help. Hopefully not spill all over me as it already has done.
So I found out that plug is actually a drain plug, where you can drain any excess water that's in your fuel filter to stop it going round your system.
Right. That was only a few drops, and I became bored of waiting, so let's get this off. So I'm going to grip it around there like that with this one, and then I'm going to grip the top of it like so. It's just dripping from everywhere. It's too slippery. I'll be back. Oh, hello again. I'll clean these off because they are absolutely slippery and filthy. Now let's do it. That is the world's tightest fuel filter. There we go, can sit in there. What a pain. Let's get the new one on. Hopefully that doesn't give us nearly as much trouble as taking the old one off. I've just got fuel everywhere, it absolutely stinks. I think I'm gonna have to buy a new mat as well because it's just covered in diesel. That's not good for lying on. Here's our new one. What brand is this? Blueprint. So I got this from PCS. It's not far from me, in Derby. Blueprint's always a good brand. I always get my air filters and things from them. They're pretty cheap. Comes with a O-ring. So I should probably use those again if I can. Let's do it. Famous last words, but this should be easy. Oh Lord. Yep, that's not going up anymore. Squeaking's got to be a good sound, right? We don't want to lose fuel. Yeah, there's no way that's leaking. Solid, right. This can go back in its little housing. That goes through there like so. And then these two 12mm bolts that go in there. Easy. I think it's taken me longer than I thought. It always does. I'm always optimistic about how much time it's going to take. And then hours later, I've like undone one screw. Because something always goes wrong when you're working on cars. Inevitably. Let's get it back in the car.
Little did I know how right I was.
Oh dear. I've just spotted a big problem. And I've just put the fuel filter back in where it belongs. I haven't put the fuel lines back in, and I just went to connect one of the electrical connectors, the one at the bottom, and I realized it snapped. Something's broken. I don't know if the car's going to run or run that well if I connect it back up with that line broken, or whether it's just going to pull through the fuel normally and it might just give an error on the dash, or it's just not going to run at all. I'll show you the problem. So it's this connector at the bottom, and you can see the little black wire that's sticking out of it. Now that is snapped off from somewhere. That definitely shouldn't be that way. Damn, because that has to fit back into this little connection, I think. That is not good. That is really not good. I'm gonna have to buy a new one of those, like literally now. I need to get one from a motor factor somewhere that's still gonna be open. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to drive back home. Like, I don't think it's gonna run. If I put it all back together just to find it doesn't run, I'm gonna take it all apart again. So because that wire is snapped off, now I've come to find out that it's actually a water sensor. So it's going to detect if there's any water coming from your tank into your fuel filter. So then it can flag it up to the ECU that there's, you know, water in it. And maybe it cuts off the engine before that gets there, or it collects the water. I don't know. I don't know if it just warns you that there's an accumulation of water in the fuel filter itself and that you should change it. But I'm going to try, because I have no other choice, I'm going to try reconnecting it all up. And I'll connect that electrical connector anyway, even though it's probably going to do nothing. I'm connecting it all up, and then I'm going to see if the car runs. Here's hoping. Right then, so that is the fuel filter back in. The electrical connectors are the only two we could connect back up. And this is all back in. This little bracket for the air filter housing box as well is back in, so then I need to put the air filter back on, battery box back on, battery back in, connect it all up, and that is done for now until we need to replace that water sensor, which it connects into the loom, and you know me, I hate doing electrical stuff, so I'm not looking forward to trying to splice those wires, and especially in that small space, and make it work again. But you know, we got to do it at some point. Also, before I forget, I do have to prime the new fuel pump as well, so I'm going to do that now. So behind here, if we take these screws off, they only a quarter turn. This comes out and there's like a little pump, like a little handheld pump that you just squeeze until it gets hard, and that draws fuel from the tank into the fuel filter as well, so it can actually start the car, because if we didn't do that, then it wouldn't, there'd just be like air basically, and it'd try and pull air into the filter, and that's not going to help anybody, so I'm going to do that now.
One thing I hadn't realised about priming a fuel pump was just how much of a minefield of innuendo it is.
I'm squeezing like a bugger. Prime! Prime, damn you! Oh! Yeah, that's hard. At some point it's going to get hard. No comments. I hear you laughing in there. Come on, get hard. Oh, that's hard. Yeah. I can't squeeze that anymore. Now I can put it away now that it's hard.
After much fumbling, I'd forgotten to reconnect something.
Oh, I always forget something. The mass airflow sensor. The thing that tells the car, the ECU, how much air is coming into the car. Without this, I'd get a warning on the dash and it'd be running terribly and awful fuel economy. So let's pull it back out again and let's reconnect that, because I can't reach behind. Give me strength. Ugh. Ah, one connector. in. Back in again we go. So that's the airflow box back in with the airflow sensor as well, most importantly. Battery box back on, battery connected, good to go. Everything's back in as it should. Fuel pump primed. Now, the only thing left to do is start the car and see if it starts. Now, I'm expecting it to not start immediately, maybe like a couple of turnovers, but it should start even without that water sensor. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Hey! Oh. So I have a, oh, I did have a warning then, that little yellow eye. I don't have anything else that's warning me. If I close these, maybe that's just because the boot's open. Let's close the boot and let's see if that does anything. With a bit of luck, the warning should go out. Good. Let's give it a few revs. She sounds sweet. I've done a thing. I've done a thing. Even with a broken water sensor. Yes.
But then I realised I might have celebrated too soon.
I've just noticed a major problem, and it's only crept up in the past couple of weeks or so since I've been filming this. And do you remember how earlier on in the video I said that I bought brand new discs and pads for the rear? Well, those brand new discs and pads decided to score themselves. I have no idea what's caused it, but they have this little ridge, about a centimetre ridge, you can see that, the silver bit, all the way around the outside of the discs. If that is grooved enough, then unfortunately I'm going to have to say bye-bye to my new discs. I'm going to have to buy new discs and new pads for both sides, because you can't just buy one disc, you have to buy them as a pair. That's just the UK law. So I'm going to now take off the wheel and I'm going to see whether there's like a stone or whether the pad's just perished or what. But I'm hoping that it's just a stone and I can take it out and it will stop making that awful grinding noise. It's hoping. So you can just see how bad that is now. It literally looks like it's a record player or something, but that groove is quite noticeable. Even there's like a groove. Now, you can't quite see just how worn out the pads are, but I'm going to take these two retaining screws out. Let's take this caliper carrier off and then pull the disc off. Hopefully we can check just as there's anything between the pad and the disc that is probably going to give us some clues. So that is the caliper carrier off. Now you can see the pads and you can see just how different like the wear is from the back one to the front one. Like you can see they were brand new and you can see the disc was brand new like a few months ago as well. This front pad has had so much more wear. That is really weird. I have no idea why the back one isn't wearing away. It's like it's just using the front. I'm going to take both off and I'm just going to inspect and see if there's anything between the disc and the pad, maybe that's causing it, or failing that, maybe having a look at the piston itself. I have no idea.
Also, you really shouldn't be using a screwdriver to take off the pads because it just scores them, but because I wasn't going to reuse them, I just wanted them off.
I think I had a defective pad. Look at that. Look at the uneven wear. I mean, they've wore down a lot on this side, but nothing really on the back. I mean, there's huge amounts of life left on that one, but this one, No wonder it was scoring my disc. Because look, it's just metal to metal again. That's why it was digging in. Now I have no idea whether it was a defect with the pads, but you can see there's like just nothing left of it. So I'm gonna have to buy new pads, and I'm just hoping that when it comes to the MOT, this will be okay, but I really don't think it will be. I really don't think it will be. Like it's pretty scored already. And if I have to buy new discs and new pads, it's just going to be more expense and like a waste of basically what is a brand new disc. I mean, it's perfectly fine on the other side, and I replaced them both at the same time. So sadly, there's no stone or anything caught in there that I was hoping it would be, that was just sort of grooving its way into my disc. So I'm just going to have to, I don't have spare pads and discs yet, so I'm going to have to put the old one back on and just buy new ones and then fit them again. In the meantime, having very questionable brakes. So I've got some new discs and some new pads that I got for an unbelievably cheap price on eBay. Would you believe me if I said I got the 2 discs and a complete set of pads for £35 off of eBay, and a free tube of copper grease as well. So I'm going to be making use of that. So let's get these old ones off and put these new ones on. And I heard Quinton Hazel, a pretty good brand as well. Not sponsored by them, but shout out to them, they're pretty good. And I happen to have picked one of the hottest days to try and get these changed. Let's see if I can do this in about an hour, and hopefully those these bolts. Let's see how good they look. I did find out something very interesting from when I took my car to get regassed earlier, because it was low on aircon, and I definitely needed it for this heat, that sometimes if these aren't lubricated enough, these like carrier pins, then it can cause excessive wear on the front pad, which we have here. So I'm thinking maybe that's what's happened, and that's why the back pad hasn't had any wear and the front's had all of it, right down to the bare metal. And obviously why it's grooved my disc like a record player. So I'm going to try and put some copper grease on here and just see if that frees it up nicely. That was nice and easy. Sometimes it just needs a little ingenuity about using my tools correctly, which in this case uses feet. I need somewhere to hang this carrier though, because there's a brake cable that feeds to the piston, which obviously when you press the brake pedal, it forces the brake fluid, which doesn't have any air in it, so it's hydraulically locked, if that's the word. It doesn't have any air in it, and so when you press the brake pedal, the brake fluid forces a piston and then squashes your pads onto your disc. That's how modern disc brakes work. But I can't let this dangle and damage that brake pipe, so I'm going to have to try and suspend it, which is why I have this little red thing. Let's just need to hook it somewhere, but there's nowhere to hook it to. There we go, brilliant. My ingenuity, honestly. Humble as well. Pretty dirty. I need some copper grease on it. I'm going to copper grease everything now that I've got a tube of it. I'm going to put it on all things, my windscreen, my steering wheel, you name it. There we go. One carrier with pads inside. And you can see just how much of a difference that pad has worn down compared to that one. That's ridiculous. So for the next part, I'm going to very carefully and very diligently remove these pads from the carrier. And because I don't have any brake pads on here to stop the disc from spinning freely, and obviously it's front wheel drive, so putting it in gear is going to do absolutely nothing, I'm going to have to use this again, my ingenuity, so that when it tries to rotate, it's going to push against the bar that's wedged on the ground. Smarts. I didn't do what I wanted it to do. Guess where that's going? It's not going back in the disc again. I have to buy those individually from the motor factors near me. They come in packs of 1, and they're like £1 or something a pack. Shame I can't just buy hundreds of them, because I just seem to get through them like made of butter. One disc that is still pretty much brand new. Really hurts. Really hurts to have to send that to a scrapyard, considering it probably had more life in it. It was only replaced in September, so it had probably years worth left of it. But these things happen. Also, check out the new pad that I got. There's a little groove in there for reasons, and that's the old one. Look at the difference in how much friction's left. Absolutely nothing. It says wafer thin. Also, something fun to point out here. This furry little creature I have is called the wheel speed sensor. So if you ever get any ABS faults, then this is most likely the culprit. So you have one of these on each wheel, and obviously, as you can imagine, it just measures how fast you're going. And obviously it's magnetic, so it's collected a load of these little filings, probably from my disc because it's been eroded away. But that is a real pain to change because they're often just rusted in there, so you have to like chisel them out with a hammer. Not fun, but thankfully we ain't got to do that today. This might need a little more gentle persuasion to go on. I've also gone deaf. I consider that a success. A hammer comes in handy again, and I've now learnt from my past mistake. I'm not going to tighten that up very much at all, and just hope that it does something without needing to be ridiculously tight, so I can actually get it off again next time. You can see just what's happened now after all my hammer blows to try and get this on. I've already made it look second-hand. I've also managed to disturb the nest of 1,000 angry ants that I think are currently trying to bite me, although I seem to be protected on this little blue island of mine. Not sure for how much longer though. Painting, painting, painting. We're trying not to cover it with the ludicrous amounts of copper grease. Just slightly less than ludicrous. Right, back in. Making sure to get it all around the sides. Just like that. And then play with it like a joystick. There we go, that is one disc, carrier and pads back in. Look at that, beautifully done. I have another nifty little invention. This is a caliper rewind tool. So what it does is you thread that through the caliper, that on the other side, and then you just basically wind it until it pushes the piston back into itself. It'll make more sense because this, at the minute, looks a bit horrific, but I'll show you how it works. It's really simple. So with our little piston, you can see that it's got, like, it's cross-shaped. So we've got 4 indents. I'm going to basically try and pick something out of this set that's got like 4, I'm going to do that one, like 4 little dots, because then that's going to fit in each of the grooves. And it's going to basically stop it from rotating, but push it back. I'm going to give that one a go. That looks promising. No idea if it's going to be the right size or not. And that fits onto the bottom, like that, and it's magnetic. And then you thread this through the little bar over the top, and it wedges against there. So the more you undo or tighten it, it'll obviously either do nothing or it'll push back the piston, which is what we want. And the reason we have to push back the piston as well is because if we try to put this back over, you can see there's no way that's going to fit, because as gradually or in our case, not gradually, as these pads wear down, the gap between the piston and the end of the caliper housing is going to get smaller and smaller, obviously so that it accounts for this brake wear. And that way you always have brakes no matter how thin these get. So now that it's in place, you can see just what it's going to do. So as I turn the handle, it's going to increase the gap here and then push that piston that way. Whew, that was painstaking. So you can see now it's gone back pretty much flush with this caliper. So I'm hoping that's enough to get this round there once I've taken off the little help me thingy. Let's see if it fits. That is beautiful. Look at it fitting already. So it's back in place now. I just need to basically put the other caliper bolts in there and there, tighten them up with the living daylights, and then pump the brake a little bit more and then just see that it's sitting correctly. And that's one side done. So now what's going to happen, if I push the brake, it will travel quite a lot to begin with and then it will get less and less, and you'll probably hear it will just sound a bit more solid. Ready? God, that's solid already. So that means there's no air in the system. And we fitted those pads correctly. Now let's go check out and see what they look like now. So I'm not sure what I'm hoping to really see, other than that everything's still in place, which it looks like it is. Pads are sat correctly still on the disc. This hasn't shifted. So that's a job well done. Now let's do the other side as well, before the sun sets, which is about to. Guess what? It's the same story for the bolts on the other side. Guess who's going to get a visit from Mr. Copper Grease? And what do you know it? It's the exact same story on the other side. This had a bit more life in it, but you can see it's already started to groove it. It's done the same thing as it did on the other side, so it's a good thing we caught these in time. And now let's get these changed as well.
But then, disaster.
I've just discovered why you don't over-tighten a rusty bolt. I was literally just on the home stretch. I put these screws back in, I put the disc back on, I put the pads back on, tightening the last two bolts before I put the wheel back on, and look what decided to snap. It was this one down here. This one decided to snap, so there's only one bolt holding the caliper on, basically. Like the carrier is fine, that's tight. It's just one bolt that's holding this caliper and the pads on. That's not safe. I really, desperately need to get another one of these bolts. I don't have a spare one. Damn. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, because I can't really drive it anywhere to pick up a new bolt. I'm going to have to try and order one, maybe, and try and get it literally next day delivery. Maybe either leave this car here or try and just get it back to my house, which is only a few yards away. Man, I cannot believe that's just snapped. It's currently, probably 9:30 at night, and I need to pretty much stop, because otherwise the neighbours are going to get sick and tired of me banging and making all this noise on my car. But I can't finish because this is broken. Damn. What I'm going to have to do is try and just see if I can find one of those bolts online, literally next day delivery, so I can fit it in there, and probably just buy a handful of spare ones just for good measure. The light fading fast. And I can't drive this car yet until I have one of those bolts. I'm going to have to pray for a miracle that I can find one really quickly. So it's the next day, and I'm going to try to drill out that brake caliper bolt that I broke. Now, I happened to pick the hottest day of the year so far. It doesn't look it, but it's 30 degrees and it's very humid. So here I am outside, trying not to cook. It's too hot.
It's too hot today.
So I'm going to try and drill out that bolt, and I don't know if it needs drilling out or I can just get some pliers on it, twist it out. I don't know what I'm going to find when I get in there, but hopefully this doesn't take me all day. Let's see what we're dealing with.
So it's time to jack up the car and take the wheel off again to change those guide pins and carry bolts that I'd broken earlier, and it would turn out to be an easier repair than I first thought.
Lock and load. Wrong way.
Although it was overkill to use the impact gun on those tiny retaining screws, I didn't want to shred them again with a screwdriver.
So this top bolt is fine, although I've done it up to an inch of its life. And it's this bottom one that's broken off here. It's just completely smooth. So I'm going to try. There should be like a little bit of thread stuck in there, and then it's going into this guide pin here. So I've got new guide pins. They came from eBay today, which was really lucky, the next day delivery. But I'm hoping that I can either just maybe create a new head if I bash a drill bit into the top of it through this hole, then maybe I can unscrew it. Failing that, I have to drill through here, and there's just nothing in the way of access here. So I'm gonna have to try and, if I go down that route, I'm gonna have to try and take this whole caliper off as one unit. Maybe I can just try and unscrew that because it's threaded there as well. So let's just try some stuff, see what happens. Ooh, this might be surprisingly easy. Look at that. I'm so glad I put copper grease on every bolt that lived. Ooh, I think I can see daylight. I think it's literally, I think I've done it. Wow. Yeah, I can see the bolts come out of this caliper, this little knuckle bit, and it's just sitting in this guide pin. So if I can take the caliper off again, and I've got a spare one for this anyway, so I may just replace it while I'm doing this one. Makes sense. So yeah, if I take this off, then I should be able to easily take this guide pin out, and then we're done. Well, we're not done, but we have to refit the new one in there. Let's do this. Oh, there we go. Got all that copper grease. Beautiful, isn't it? Now we have our all-important caliper holder. So I'm gonna carefully loop this through whatever that is. I'm going to try and take it off again. I don't like those creaking noises. Yes, marvelous. I'm too good at this.
I think I am actually humble. I think I'm much more humble than you would understand.
There we go. So now, yeah. That's the source of my problems. That's where it broke off. And to be honest, that's a good place for it to break off because I should be able to get some pliers around that and it shouldn't be that tight. I'm hoping, but I've got a new one of these guide pins with this little grommet as well. So I'm going to replace all this. I don't need to worry about keeping it in good condition. Ooh, it's coming out so easily. So much easier than I thought it would. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. In theory, I could just reuse this. Although it's covered my hands in copper grease, but I could just reuse this, apply a bit more copper grease on this guide pin, and then put a new screw in the top. But we're going to use brand new ones because They came and they were all shiny and new. Look at them. Even come with this little packet of like, I don't know what kind of grease it is, or lubricant, but this is like 15 quid or something off eBay. And you get 2 guide pins and then 2 of these screws as well. So it's just for one size, but that is really good. Let's get them on. Now I have no idea what this is going to look like once I open this. So I'm hoping it doesn't just splurge all over me. Please be kind, please be kind. Well, it's not done that yet to me, so let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's like a white kind of cream. I don't know if you can see that. It's like an After 8 mint.
When I was a kid, a box of yummy chocolates really turned me on. But I'm not a kid anymore. I found a box of chocolates just for me. After 8 chocolate-covered mint.
I have no idea how much is enough, so that feels like it's enough. I'm going to stop there. Put this new grommet on there like such. There we go. And then make sure you cover all of the grommet with said grease on the outside. That's especially important. So now, it should be a case of putting this side back in and over there like that. Look at that. Much more springy. And then, not that yet. I'm going to replace this other one. So I'm going to take this one out and do the exact same thing. Goodbye guide pin. There we go, look how good. Look at that action. Brilliant. All that's left to do now, unhook our caliper and fit it all back together again. Tell you what I'm going to do and make life easier. Because they've been decided to be awkward, I'm going to take the caliper off again, just hook it up out of the way, and I'm going to use the compressor and then push that piston back in again so it's easier to get on the pads, because obviously since driving it a little bit, that distance is shortened and so it's closer contact with the pads and the disc, which is what you want, but not right now. Someone's got some absolutely banging music taste. That should be enough. Let's see. Pads are in the right place. Oh, yes. Look at that. What a beauty. Don't even need the persuader. Right. Must remember not to over tighten the hell out of this. We don't want to repeat it last time. Nearly. Could that be any louder? I now consider it done. All there's left to do, put this little screw back in there because I didn't need to take that out. We use the impact gun on that one. And then, because I only undone these two and I'm happy with how tight they are, I can literally just put the wheel back on and then tighten up my wheel nuts. And that's it. All done. What was gonna be like probably many hours, it's probably turned out to be less than that, less than an hour. And the disc moves freely. Woohoo! So we are gonna have to do them up in a star shape as well. So we can start with this, and then we go to the opposite one to tighten that up. And then we go back to the top to tighten that, and then to the opposite, and then the last one down there. And the reason we do that, many reasons, but as far as I can tell, it's literally just to make sure that the wheel is like against the hub straight and it's not at a slight angle, but just really tight on one side, because otherwise it might encourage the camber? Yeah, the camber of the wheel to be off if we do them up in like a circular pattern. So always do them in star shape. So there we go. That's all done. Now I have working discs and safe brakes again. That's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, which I'm so grateful for. The only thing left to do now is just to test that it brakes okay and the handbrake holds it. But we should be good to go.
Close my eyes, I can almost see it.
We're like something out of a Benny Benassi video.
When I take a breath, you fill up my life.